Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are beginning our series of big interviews on our trademark interview series, Nation Wants to Know. And this morning I have with me someone who I wanted to speak to for a very long time, because when you've heard some of the cases that he's dealt with and the controversies before and after those cases, you've always wanted an opportunity to go deeper into those issues. And I frankly could not have fathomed a situation where I would be speaking to him in this situation, where he's now become a Rajya Sabha member of parliament amidst, I would call, a raging controversy. Good morning, Justice Ranjan Gogoi, former Chief Justice of India, and now Rajya Sabha member of parliament, a presidential nominee as the Rajya Sabha member of parliament. Justice Gogoi, good morning, and thank you for joining me on this special episode of The Nation Wants to Know.
Good morning, Arnab, and good morning to your entire team. All good wishes.
Yes, thank you. A lot of people tuning in this morning. A lot of people tuning in this morning. And I've been chasing you for an interview for a very long time. You've taken your time, and let me cut right to the chase. Your nomination to the Rajya Sabha yesterday has been the most controversial one. When you were taking the oath, you were being jeered on by some people. Some other members, in a most inappropriate way, started shouting shame, shame, etc. And I think it made me wonder what was going through your mind then, because it's the most there was an attempt to make you feel extremely unwelcome into the Rajya Sabha yesterday, and a lot of people made several comments about it. So, what was going through your mind at that time when you were being sworn in?
Arnab, what I saw in the House yesterday is what I felt and perceived in the court all along. Basically, anti. Walkouts, protests, and all kinds of expressions in the House unfortunately, have become a part of parliamentary proceedings. It doesn't disturb me at the least, because I am very clear in my mind as to what I am doing and what I propose to do.
But a lot of comments. Today it's being written, comments such as, and may I quote, "The fig leaf has fallen off the judiciary." It is being said, quote, "Your personal integrity is compromised." And others commented, and I'm quoting those, saying, "Your nomination is a classic reward for a loyalist. It's a quid pro quo." I'd like you to go into detail about these comments, because they are persistent, they are stinging, and they all push in one direction.
Arnab, these comments don't bother me, they don't sting me. For the simple reason that if it had been quid pro quo, perhaps it would have been something else, not a Rajya Sabha seat. The Rajya Sabha, as you know, sits for about 65 days in a year. I have already said yesterday that I'm not going to take any emoluments of the office. It hardly bothers me. You see, I perceive, and I think I'm right, that there are a certain section of people who are in Parliament and also in the Supreme Court. You know them, I know them, everybody knows them. We don't have to read out names. Perhaps they were not very happy with the way I dealt with them when I was the Chief Justice and earlier to that, a judge of the Supreme Court. So it's only natural that when I come to Parliament, they would not welcome me.
Yeah, but
how does it
I understand, but what you're basically saying that they're getting back at you. But you see, Justice Gogoi, it's not just about you. It's also a major attack on the judiciary. You've been Chief Justice. You've been followed by Chief Justice Bobde, and now this is going to be perceived to be a hammer blow to the judiciary. Let me put out some comments. Some of those comments are directed at you, Justice Gogoi, but some are also directed at the entire criminal justice system. Allow me to complete. Anand Sharma says, Your nomination has eroded people's faith in the justice system. Kapil Sibal says you're going to be remembered for lapping up a Rajya Sabha nomination. Is this an attempt to undermine the independence of the judiciary, raise questions over the independence of the judiciary? What impact is it going to have on other judges of the Supreme Court, sitting judges now and judges of the future?
Have you completed the question?
Yes. Yes, sir.
What is independence of judiciary? My acceptance of the nomination to Rajya Sabha is a quid pro quo, and therefore it is a reward for judgments delivered. Did I deliver any judgment sitting alone? The statements are highly contemptuous. It casts an aspersion on the judges who are part of the bench. Are you suggesting that the other members of the bench whose tenure is going to be complete before the tenure of the present government have also guaranteed their post-retirement package? I hope and I wish, but I don't think it will happen for reasons that I'll tell you. The Supreme Court takes so much notice and initiates a contempt proceeding against at least the prominent ones who are making the statements. I don't think that's going to happen, though it should happen, because the entire judiciary today has come in the stranglehold of a handful of people. Independence of judiciary, independence of the judge is judged by the judgments delivered according to their choice. If the judgment goes contrary to what they expect, the judge is not independent. Therefore, look at the controversial. I don't think they are controversial. They were unanimous. Look at Rafale. It was largely unanimous.
Okay. Let's look at Rafale.
It was unanimous.
Yeah.
Now, 1 minute. I have not finished. Now, what about the other 4 judges? Are you not casting an aspersion on them? Have the other 3, at least one, all 4, if not 3, complete the tenure before the tenure of the present government? What you are pointing out at me, or what the critics are really pointing out at me, also equally applies to them. Right? So, is it that if you only deliver judgments against the government, against the establishment, you are eligible to be nominated to the Rajya Sabha? Have the critics referred to Article 80, the Constituent Assembly debates? Mr. Iyengar's speech, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's speech on Article 80 in 1953? When the President of India makes an offer and requests you for your services for 65 days in a year, you can't tell the President, you're not supposed to, that look, let me live in retirement. And why? Because if I accept your nomination, there is a group of people who will be unhappy about it. What is this? Yes, Arnab, you may ask for a question.
On Rafale, I'm so glad that you are coming out so strong and specific on issues. On Rafale, your judgment, December 2018, you were in the chair. Massive pressure was being put on you. And the opposition was putting pressure. General elections were coming up. And you snubbed it all and you said, I quote 15 December, you said, there is no occasion to really doubt the process of acquiring the 36 Rafale jets. My question to you is, would you think the reception would have been different for you had you said a Rafale scam existed? Because there was a lot of pressure, Prashant Bhushan, others. You know, if this feeling is that if the verdict in the Rafale case had gone the other way before the general elections, the same people would have been completely accepting of you. And habitual PIL petitioners wouldn't be referring to you as an agent of the government with Rafale. So I want you to go a little bit in detail on Rafale, because the sense is people started questioning you the moment you said Rafale was not a scam.
Arnab, it's a lovely day in Delhi, you know. And let me strike a very lighter note. Retired judges don't defend or explain their judgments. They only criticize the judgments of others. Ask me about judgments of others, Justice XYZ, I'll criticize. Why are you asking me to defend my judgment?
I'm not asking you to defend your judgment.
But
I'm not asking you. No, I think you got me wrong. I completely.
No, you asked me to explain.
I'm not asking. Let me ask you the question differently.
You're asking me to explain.
No, I'm not asking you to explain. I'm not asking you to explain.
I've understood.
What I'm asking you is that when you mentioned the bench,
yes,
you were on the bench, and then there was Justice S.K. Kaul, and then if I'm not mistaken, there was Justice K.M. Joseph. April 2019, pulled up Rahul Gandhi for wrongly attributing Chaukidar Chor Hai slogans in the Supreme Court and demanded an apology, and the bench said, where have you expressed complete regret? You were right then, at that point of time, along with the other judges, you were judging on a case that was the #1 political issue in the country before the election. And what I was saying was that, do you feel that your targeting or whatever happened later was because of the position that you took in that judgment, that willy-nilly you got dragged into a political situation?
What is the point in my saying that I do have a feeling like that? I have no basis to substantiate. Rafale was a judgment unanimous by 3 judges. The reasons are there. The court did not find any evidence of any further inquiry and closed the matter. The review was answered by an order of dismissal. If there was no prima facie case for further inquiry, there could not be a case for institution of a FIR. That's the view that 2 judges took. Justice Joseph differed a little. That judgment speaks for itself, and I don't think this is a forum where I should be getting into judgments.
I agree.
And the possible impact of those judgments on future events.
I agree. I agree.
Just let me complete.
No, I agree, but
it's not a healthy practice.
No, but it's my responsibility to ask you, and I'll tell you what I feel, Justice Gogoi. Is the real grouse that you and your brother judges, Justices S.A. Bobde, Justice Ashok Bhushan, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, Justice Abdul Nazir, delivered the Ayodhya judgment? Is the real grouse the Ayodhya judgment?
The Ayodhya case, Arnab, was just another case which needed to be resolved. Looking at the magnitude of the voluminous documents, we took unusually long time. We resolved it the way we thought it is proper. It's a unanimous judgment. It speaks for itself. What effect it has had on a particular political party or a particular segment of the population is something that never comes into the mind of a judge. He decides the case on the basis of the law and the materials available before him. That's what we did.
No, but that's true. But those political parties now say, quote, pre-retirement judgments are influenced by the desire for a post-retirement job. I know you dealt with that right at the start of the interview. But the Congress party mouthpiece equates the Ayodhya verdict to the Babri demolition in the past. And I believe, and a lot of people believe, that there are people carrying a grudge against you for the Ram Mandir decision, because while you were ending a 135-year-old dispute, others were losing a vote bank issue.
Well, Arnab, that is the last thing I would be bothered with or concerned with. I told you, Ayodhya was just another case which needed an early resolution. nothing beyond that. How it had helped whom, how it has harmed whom, is something that is beyond my comprehension. A case of this magnitude is bound to have repercussions. We are fully conscious. I hope these repercussions stop with me and does not affect my brother judges.
Don't you think it will?
Yes, Arnab.
Don't you think it will? When a vilific, you're being like a, you're being, if I may say so, you're being like a complete wall, and you're saying you're impassive, you will not be affected by it, but you're a human being. Justice Gogoi, I'm sure you get affected by this constant barrage that is put against you, especially after Ayodhya and Rafale.
No, no. Arnab, really speaking, let me share with you, it does not bother me one bit. I'm absolutely clear in my mind as to what I have done and what I am going to do. But may I ask you a question?
You want to ask me a question? I mean, okay, fine. Unexpected from a former Chief Justice to me. I thought I was doing the interview, but that's fine.
And from no, you are doing the interview. You are at the helm of affairs. But let me ask you a question. Membership of the Rajya Sabha by nomination under Article 80, is it a post-retirement job?
It's a position.
And if post-retirement accommodation is the ultimate aim for which so much of hearing and efforts took place, could a reasonable man, a practical man, would he not have opted for something bigger and better? This is my question to you. Okay. If you want to answer it, answer it. If you don't want to answer it, don't answer it.
Can I ask you a question back, Justice Gogoi, if you don't mind?
No, you must. No. Either you tell me that you answer it or you don't answer.
Okay, then I'll answer it and I'll put a question back.
I don't think we'll proceed to the next question.
I will answer it, but I have a follow-up.
Yes,
my answer is you have a point. My answer is, Justice Gogoi, you have a point. If a former Chief Justice is angling for a big position after demitting in office, which in order of protocol is one of the highest in the country in order of privileges, then he can potentially, he could have bargained for something bigger. You could have been, you could have bargained for a ministry, ambassadorship, a massive position in a global body, and you could have got a far more cushy job with bigger perks. If what you're trying to say, absolutely correct. You would not have opted to be just a presidential nominee to the Rajya Sabha and put yourself in the middle of this entire controversy, which begs the question, Justice Gogoi, why? Why?
Why what?
Why did you need this? You were in Guwahati, you were very respected. Last time I ever spoke to you, the only thing that you ever spoke about was wanting to lecture at law schools and maybe, follow your academic and other interests. And you're a man of literature, you have many interests outside your job, people who know you well. Why would you want all this barrage on you? Why? Why would you want to be personally attacked? Why would you, at this stage, after having done all this, allow a situation where people are saying, shame on you in the Rajya Sabha and walking out? Why are you putting yourself in the middle of all this? Why?
There are certain moments in everybody's life where you have to take calls. My acceptance of the presidential nomination stems from a firm belief that when the president requests for your services, you don't say no. The president under our constitutional scheme is a presidential actions on the aid and advice of the government. Now, I was looking forward to retirement. Retired life is also a good phase of life. But when the call came, I could not have shirked it by saying, no, I want to take my holidays. I want to live life the way I want. There are compulsions. There are commitments. there are principles, there are norms that we go by. The presidential offer or request, to my mind, is something like an offer made to a member of the bar that come and join the bench. The tradition is the member who's given the offer does not refuse, notwithstanding what financial and other difficulties or setbacks that acceptance of the offer may lead to.
Justice Gogoi, if I may intervene, that is a technical reply. Please don't mind my saying so. Behind the presidential nomination, there is a government approval. The president could not have given you the offer without the okay
president on the aid and advice of the government.
Pardon me?
Of course not. All judges are appointed on the basis of okay of the Modi government. Eventually, the presidential order or the notification is issued with the approval of the Prime Minister. Does it make the appointment by the Prime Minister, of the judge by the Prime Minister?
But
this is the constitutional scheme. That's what it is.
Constitutional scheme. Yeah. But constitutional scheme. But the real scheme of things is, it would.
This is the constitutional scheme. The president.
The real scheme of things is, it would be the Modi government which would be asking the president to make the offer to you. For example, Swapan Das Gupta is a presidential nominee to the Rajya Sabha. Clearly, Swapan Das Gupta's nomination to the Rajya Sabha has been on the behest of the Modi government, approved through the process of the Rashtrapati Bhavan. So in a way, I'm not using the word quid pro quo, but let me say that whatever this offer is has come from the government. So somebody else will say, oh, you know what, this Ayodhya judgment or the Rafale judgment would have a beneficial impact on the government. And while I'm not questioning the judgment, I'm not, allow me to complete. I'm not questioning the judgment. I'm saying that you allow the judgment to fall under the shroud of these questions by accepting the nomination. That's the point I'm making, and I just want a more elaborate reply to that situation.
It is possible for a person to say that the judgment gets clouded. It is possible. How much of credence he will give to that? People always have lingering doubts. And the lingering doubts get fortified by subsequent events. Does it mean that you put a halt to the subsequent events? That is a quality that I don't appreciate.
But you could have, why allow the lingering doubts?
You don't take your decisions. Just a minute. Just, why not? If you are clear in your mind, where is the question of your being obstructed by lingering thoughts in somebody else?
It's not about what's in your mind. It's about how the judgments will be perceived. It's about not allowing the opportunity.
Mr. Arnab, please listen. If tomorrow, after Swapan Das Gupta's tenure comes to an end, Arnab Goswami is brought to the Rajya Sabha, and Arnab Goswami has been speaking the truth, as I can see on Republic TV, which favors the government. Will Arnab Goswami today turn anti-government?
Yeah, I will tell you a clear reply to that. I would not have. No, allow me. Yes. No, you took my name. Allow me. I will put it to you simply. I will say to you clearly today that I do my job as a journalist. Firstly, on a personal note, let me say to you very firmly, Justice Gogoi, I would never in my life accept a Rajya Sabha membership, but that may be said to be my personal choice, but I'm stating it so that that matter is put to rest right now. Secondly, now let me argue from a different axiom, a different prism. That if I feel that anything I do or take or accept presently, in the past, retrospectively or prospectively, if I do anything which puts a cloud over the last 23, 24 years of my career, then I would not just hesitate, I would blindly say no to it. Because I would think then about my past career, and I would say that perhaps this act, though guided by genuine reasons, would put a cloud over what I've done in the past. So I would say no. Why would a similar thought not come to you?
Because I am very clear in my mind.
Are you saying,
very simple.
Are you saying that those others who would say no would not be clear in their mind?
I am very clear in my mind. No, I'm not saying that. It's an individual personal perception. If I am absolutely clear in my mind that my past, the career that I built up, the reputation I have built up, should not in any way be affected by my subsequent acts, I will go ahead and do what I think is correct. You may take a different view of the matter. You may take a different approach. You may like to protect your 23-year-old hard-earned reputation. You would like to protect it from apprehensions and doubts cast by people.
No, I would.
By your subsequent.
I would not.
So you're allowing. One sec. Don't disturb my chain of thought. You are allowing yourself. You are allowing yourself to be guided in the future. You are allowing your subsequent acts to be molded by what you think people may say about your subsequent events or subsequent acts. This is not acceptable to me.
Well, I would put it differently.
In other words, you are not doing...
I would put it differently. You're a man of words.
Arnab,
Arnab,
you put it in whatever...
No, I won't.
You put it in whatever way you want. The meat of the matter is this. The meat of the matter is this. Would you let your future be guided by comments and opinions of others?
Well, I think now this is an interesting...
That's what has been done. One sec.
You are not allowing me to respond.
This is what has been done in this country? Of course not. This is because I am responding to your questions. This is what has happened in this country. People have compromised. People have held back what should be the right course of action on account of a fear that what will people say. Yeah. I am not one of these
Okay,
people.
now I must respond because I must respond to this. But just 1 minute, sir. You made some points. You must hear my perspective. What I'm saying is, you made a comment saying that if you allow this, you allow yourself to be guided by others, by which you mean your critics, your peers, or the commentariat. To which I would say that absolutely not. If you said, Arnab, would you take a Rajya Sabha membership? I said, absolutely not. Never would I do that. Not because I have any thoughts about the critics or the peers or the commentariat, but because of my own sense of righteousness, my own conscience, and that's not responding to others. So, like Arnab, you say, that you get where I'm coming from. Now I want to ask you a question.
Yes. Your name in connection with a Rajya Sabha membership was purely hypothetical. Arnab Goswami or anybody, Mr. X, right? Mr. Arnab Goswami doesn't want it. Fine. Mr. X wants it, but he doesn't have the courage to accept it because he is afraid, he is apprehensive that there are people who will attack him. So he feels he can contribute.
I have a feeling that you want to hit back at the lobby. And one of the reasons you've accepted the Rajya Sabha membership,
I don't want to hit back at anybody.
I think because you want to hit back because they targeted you, they made extreme comments on you, they protested outside you, inside court, outside court. They attacked you, they vilified you. There was pressure on you to comply or be defamed. Justice Gogoi, let us be very clear about this, and please don't hold back on this today. You know that there was pressure put on you, there was pressure to blackmail you, there was pressure to make you the subject of attacks, not just you, the entire judiciary at that point of time. You know the episodes that happened into the courtroom. You know when Kapil Sibal and Dushyant Dubey stormed out of a courtroom that was hearing the Ayodhya a case, and that there was a clear attempt to say, and you said, I remember that particular episode, Because, and I want you, we saw the Ayodhya hearing taking place in your presence, lawyers like Rajiv Dhawan tearing up sheets in the courtroom. When have you seen that? And I know what you said. You said we can just get up and walk out right now. Don't deny that you were on the edge. Don't deny that you were angry. Don't deny that there was a clear attempt to provoke you. And therefore, you do want to respond to the lobby, and I want you to talk about what was going on there. You referred to it at the start, but you didn't elaborate.
Arnab, you're referring to the 5 judges, not to me. I am one of the 5 judges. And did we at any point of time get provoked? We completed the hearing, giving everybody all opportunities, and we delivered the judgment. That's all. That's over.
No, that's not all. Something else happened on the 16th of October.
People
Something
will try
else
and
happened on the
provoke.
16th of October,
People
sir.
will try and provoke. People will...
Something else happened on the 16th of October, sir, if I may remind you. On 16th of October 2019, Rajiv Dhawan started tearing up the pages that were handed to him to lodge his opposition. You were sitting in the chair, were sitting in the chair, and you told Rajiv Dhawan, and your words were, you can shred it further.
Yes.
Right? You can shred it further.
Yes.
And then the bench said that if the proceedings continue in this matter, it will walk out. You were in the bench. And the Chief Justice, Gogoi, said at that point of time, as per us, arguments are over, we can get up and walk right now. There was pressure put on you. I want you to tell me about the kind of pressure that was put on you by this lobby. What were they trying to do? They were trying to intimidate you, provoke you, push you down, make you do their bidding.
But did we? But assuming there was such pressure, did we succumb to such pressure? No. So what's the point talking about it? In a contested case, why Ayodhya? In any commercial litigation involving thousands of crores of rupees, there are pressures put on judges. These are pressures built up on academics. These are pressure built up on case laws. These are pressure built up on legal points. This all is a part of the job. You don't reach the apex court and you don't become the Chief Justice of India for nothing.
But you said they've got used to a certain way.
Every moment is a moment of challenge.
Yeah, but
every moment.
You said they've got used to a certain way of functioning. They've got used to putting the pressure and getting away with it. And there's a cabal. Is there a cabal?
Maybe. I can only speak for myself and my court. I have never allowed anybody to influence the judges in any other way except by their knowledge of law and assistance in law offered by the councils.
Justice Gogoi,
that is how I feel.
It's not just the lobby that
whether that's happening or not.
The same people cheered you on during the press conference of 2018 when there was a discussion about the administrative matters. The Judge Loya case was going on in the Supreme Court. The same people cheered you on. The same judges stood by you. The same judges are now attacking you. Former Justice Kurian Joseph says that your nomination has shaken the confidence of the common man on the independence of the judiciary. Former Justice Madan Lokur said, has the last bastion fallen? My question to you is, are these attacks motivated, genuine, erroneous? Please don't be impassive and say it doesn't matter to you. Of course it would matter to you. They are personal attacks by fellow judges.
Arnab, I don't know what is in their minds. I do not know what is in their minds, so it's not fair on my part to comment. But let me tell you one thing. Everybody is talking about independence of the judiciary. What is this concept of independence of the judiciary? Arnab, when did the Indian judiciary make its first foray, F-O-R-A-Y, foray, into the executive domain? Which case? Which case? All right, I'll tell you. Vinit Narayan, 2 years tenure for the CBI director, framed the law, etc., etc. Vinit Narayan is 35 years old. Judicial control over executive action and legislative action really started in India 35 years back. And in international jurisprudence, Chief Justice Marshall, Madison versus Marbury versus Madison, 1872. The jurisprudence of public domain law is half a century old at the most in India. India has had a very efficient working system of judicial administration from the Indus Valley civilization. There was no control of the king or the ruler all along until this forays into the executive and legislative domain. Did India at all points of time did not have an independent judiciary? Is the judiciary, independence of the judiciary only to be judged by what is the perceived conduct?
There is a problem though. There is a problem.
Emanating from judgments in the domain, emanating from judgments in public law. Nobody, when you talk about the judiciary, you talk about the judicial conduct vis-a-vis the government, collegium appointments. You never come to the root of the matter. Do we have a working judiciary? Do we have an acceptable system of administration of justice in this country today, when people have to wait for years and years? So when you cannot deliver timely justice, you are talking about independence of judiciary? Are the two facets not connected? Yes, Arnab.
My question is more fundamental. You are now part of the lawmaking arm of our democratic system. So now, as someone who has that perspective, both as a judge and now as a legislator, there will be a problem that you will face. Because the positions of the executive are very different from the positions that were advised upon the executive by the judiciary when you were at the helm. For example, will you take a contrary position on Sabrimala? As the Chief Justice of India, you did not stay the right to pray for women in Sabrimala. You directed it to a larger bench. Amit Shah, who was BJP president till recently, has a very clear position that women should not be allowed into Sabrimala because these are issues of culture. Will you say that Amit Shah is wrong even today? Will you take a contrary position, given that the party is indirectly supporting your nomination? To the Rajya Sabha, these questions will be raised, and you will have to take a position on it very publicly, and you will have to oppose the ruling party of India on the floor of Parliament. Will you be able to do that?
Arnab, let me pay you a compliment. I don't think you get too many compliments. 100 out of 100 marks to you for your imagination. Wonderful. Keep it up. The way you have brought Sabrimala and Amit Shah is absolutely fantastic imagination. That's all I can say.
What am I imagining?
Thank you. It was lovely talking to you.
What am I imagining?
And a very, very eminently fertile imagination, which will take you a long way in your career path.
Political funding.
My only word.
Thank you so much. I am only the recipient of backhanded compliments, but you delivered the landmark judgment that upheld the CJI and other judges fall under the ambit of the RTI. Now the question will be, should the BJP, the Congress, also fall under the purview of the RTI? You oversaw the NRC in Assam. What stand will you take on CA? But let me ask about the RTI, for example. The position of political parties on RTI is very different. You delivered the landmark judgment that upheld that even you as Chief Justice and other judges fall under the ambit of the RTI. Now, will you stand in the Rajya Sabha and say BJP is wrong, Congress is wrong, BJP particularly is wrong, and the BJP should change its position on the RTI? And I stand by the position I took. in November 2019.
Arnab has visualized all the problems and all the issues that I will be confronted with in the Rajya Sabha. Thank you. And once this, if at all these issues come, may I take your assistance?
The issues are present.
As a member of parliament, I'm free to do that.
The issues are present.
Yeah.
The issues exist.
I will, as and when they arise, and as and when I'm required to take a call, if required, I'll revert to you. But there is one judgment that you did not mention. I'm disappointed. Arnab,
which one?
There is one judgment that you did not mention.
Which one? Though you didn't answer my question on these two.
That is the judgment of Devendra. There is the judgment of Devendra Fadnavis, Chief Minister, former Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Correct? Where I held that he is open for prosecution. You didn't mention that.
No, but
the lobby did not mention it. No. Nobody mentions it.
My question is,
and
my
there are
question
so
is,
many so on and so forth.
My question is, and you
Yes.
and I, you understand me absolutely well. You know that Justice Ramanna, Justice Chandrachud, Justice Deepak Mehta, Justice Sanjeev Khanna were with you. It was a 3-2 majority judgment in the RTI case. Now the question will be, can you, and I think it would be absolutely awesome. And if you ask me, no unsolicited advice, I'm happy to be your research assistant, sir. But what I would say, I think it would be absolutely brilliant if you, Justice Gogoi, as a Rajya Sabha member of Parliament, stand up and take the same position that you did on RTI, now on the floor of the House. I think it would set a precedent rarely seen in this country. It would answer all questions.
I will, as the judges say, do I no longer a judge? I'll consider it.
Okay.
Arnab, I wish we could carry on this.
Yes.
There are so many things. Perhaps
Yes.
we have to move to another day.
Yes.
I have to go to Parliament.
Yes.
I'm already late.
Yes.
And I don't want to be late. It's been wonderful talking to you. Thank you very much.
Well, one last thing before you go. I hope you have a good day in Parliament. They're moving adjournment motions, CPM moving adjournment motions in Parliament on your nomination. Any response you have on that? They want to make it a longer issue, a protracted conversation in Parliament.
I'm unaware of it.
Okay. Justice Gogoi, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. I know we extended our time. I wish you a great career in Parliament and look forward to talking to you again. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.